Shalom. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Yahweh is who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and there's no God beside him. I want to give double honor to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for being faithful witnesses to the Holy Spirit, and salutations to the elect whom the Most High have given ears to hear. And I want to land back off of a video the elder apostle Gabar did, or it's more so of a of a recommendation he put out about going into this document of this guy by the name of Marion Knox. All right, well, you have two guys, Ron Patton and Marion Knox, speaking. One is interviewing the other, and this guy Marion Knox is breaking down the mindset of these elites, the Rothchilds, mainly the Rothchilds, in which he says they are the king of the Jews. All right, the so-called Jews. All right, that's a top ruling class. That's a top ruling family of all the earth, and their mindset, in which we already know through the Holy Spirit, but it's always good to go into some articles just to prove that it's not just us speaking. All right, but this is from an eyewitness, or not necessarily an eyewitness, but a person who, because this guy Marion Knox is a for lack of better terms, is a psychiatrist and helping former victims of what he calls the abuse victims, of those Illuminati rituals. So it says this is a portion of the dialogue between Marion Knox and Ron Patton. As you see, RP stands for Ron Patton and MK stands for Marion Knox. So it says, can you be more specific as to the role the Rothschilds play into all of this? Right? And if I didn't mention, this is called the master plan of the illuminated Rothchilds. Ron Patton interviews Marion Knox. Right? So it's a good read. Really good read, actually. Right? Further proving the demented individual we're dealing with here. So it says, can you be more specific as to the roles the Rothschild play into all of this? Well, most people who are into conspiracy know the Rothschilds are the most powerful family in the world. But you really don't hear about the details relating to how they have set themselves up to be king of the Jews, quote unquote, and to usher in the Antichrist. It was the Rothschilds who financially backed the nation of Israel so they could eventually set up the throne for the anti-Messiah in Jerusalem. And yet during World War II, their money and resources were used to kill millions of Jews. Alright, Amalekites. But these were seen as the expendable Jews from the house of Jacob. Remember, these guys have the audacity to use the Bible as a blueprint to take over the world. Let me give you some background information. On one level, the Rothschilds secretly call themselves the house of David from the tribe of Judah. Now, Rothschild, translated from German to English, means red shield. During biblical times, the Edomites' fortress was the red rocks of Petra. Esau, the twin brother of Jacob, was described as red and hairy. So this information fits perfectly with what survivors have been telling me. As I mentioned, Marion Knox is a psychiatrist helping those survivors or those victims of the Illuminati rituals. That on a deeper level, the Rothchilds are also claiming to be descendants of Esau, and thus are really from the house or tribe of Esau. What they are trying to do is to get the birthright back from the house of Jacob, who are the real Jews. However, the book of Obadiah talks about the destruction of the Edomites in the last days. So this leads us to another interesting point. In Revelations 3:9, it says, "Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, but say they are Jews and are not, but do lie." All right, which in its proper interpretation is actually talking about the Israelites. All right, that fell away. Nevertheless, you have false Jews, or false ones that calling themselves of Jews and really are not of the lineage in no way, shape, or form, and are not, but do lie. "Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet." Then I asked the question, who is the synagogue of Satan? The only logical conclusion I can come up with is the Illuminati Rothchilds. Okay? And that's exactly who they are in this day and age. They are known as the Antichrist, which there are many Antichrists, all right, but they are at the forefront of it. And those that follow their pernicious ways are also Antichrist. They are against the ways of the Lord. When you read that document, it shows you, as I mentioned, how warped this devil is, how crooked he is. But as everything written in the scriptures, they take it and they flip it to their liking, right? Which, as they know they're Esau, but they try to call themselves after particular names of the lineage, of the righteous holy lineage. All right, they call themselves Josephs and Jacob. All right, yet they know they're Esau. And there's another part in this article that stuck out to me. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, yeah, it says in this part, it says, yeah, it seems to make sense in a morbid and convoluted way, right? Which, as I mentioned before, let me read a little bit of this part actually. It says, from Meyer M. Shaw down to 5 generations may have been Kor and Joseph, besides guys who's probably a half brother and more of a front man. Another interesting thing is you'll find the name James in many of the Rothschild names, which is another translation for Jacob. Remember, Joseph was the son of Jacob, so they have made it look like the whole line of men leading to the anti-Messiah is the house of Jacob. See how this fits together, right? Jumping down, it says, yeah, it seems to make sense in a morbid and convoluted way. So in the book of Revelation, all right, which, remember, according to the book of Job, they are forgers of lies. All right. And a lot of these dystopian movies, like the other day I was watching 1984, and one of the quotes was, they said a lot of good quotes, one of them being, because the main character Winston, his superior was asking him, what is your job? Because he was kind of getting beside himself, whereas he was working for the ministry of truth. And he said, no, my job is He said something like, my job is to basically write the dialogue for what is truth. You know, to look into history and write the dialogue to what is truth. You know, something to that extent. I wrote it down, but I don't have my notebook on me. But his superior was saying, yeah, you know, he was basically letting him know, like, yeah, this is your job. You know, to basically rewrite history to where, basically, to, in so many words, his job was to rewrite history to fit their narrative. Right? As the scriptures tell us, he setteth himself against all that is called God or that is worship. All right? So righteousness of the scriptures, all right, which prophecy will prevail. You know? But the righteousness, or I say the truth of the matter, is the scriptures. That which is written of in the scriptures. Alright, so it says, yeah, it seems to make sense in a morbid and convoluted way. So in the book of Revelation, it says that the anti-Messiah, or the beast, is the eighth or seventh. Eighth of seventh, started with Maria Armstrong Rothschild and inserting Joseph Mango at the right place of the generation of families, it comes out to number 5. The 6 is David, representing the house of David, and listed at number 7 is Alexander. He was named after Alexander the Great, who was not only a reverend general, right, as even these devils called him, Alexander of Greece, the beginning of civilization. All right. Meanwhile, it was the beginning of the rulership of Esau, Edom, the so-called white men, which is who they really are. He was named after Alexander the Great, who was not a reverend general, who was not only a reverend general, but was also a supreme pontiff of the Babylonian religion during his reign. He was the swiftest conqueror of the world and also a sodomite. These closed-in Rothschild survivors all have this monarch programming, which includes an internal computer system called Alex. In order to access it, you need to find the master access code. All right, jumping down. What I have surmised from getting into the minds of these people is that Alexander may be the name for Antichrist. Alexander means mighty one of Cain, according to one researcher. You know, which that's not necessarily what it means, but, you know, again, this is what they tell themselves, basically, to help them sleep at night, so to speak. You know, according to one researcher, the Illuminati believes they will win the final battle at Armageddon, seize the vineyard, the world, overthrow Yahushua, and have Lucifer rule within the master race, with the master race for 1,000 years. Hitler even talked about 1,000 years, the Third Reich. You know, which according to the scriptures, the saints shall take the kingdom and shall rule it forever and until forever. You know, and according to Revelations 20, 1,000 years shall be ruled. Well, it's talking about 2,000 years. You know, that Esau should be taken down for 1,000 years to come back for a little season. All right, and then basically, Yahushua is going to take over with the righteous. All right, but again, this devil is convoluted, as he read. You know, he's distorted, he's crooked. You know, he's known in the scriptures as, what's that word? The forward. Alright, so let's grab some precept. This is Psalms 2:1 in the NLT. Why are the nations so angry? Why do they waste their time with futile plans? Alright? Because essentially, Yahweh Shem Yahushua blinded them. Because he wants to destroy them. So he gave them the blueprint to destroy their self. Because he hates them. And he always will. Like it is written in various precepts. Ecclesiastes 12 is one I can think of. How when the Most High comes back, he will judge a man according to his works. Right? And Esau's work allowed him, in every way, shape, and form, as this document constantly brings out how this devil practices sodomy. So his work allows him destruction. You know, whereas Sodom and Gomorrah is written up in the scriptures as a place destined for destruction. Right? And essentially what he pushes is NWO, which the scriptures call it the image of the beast. That's further going to bring him down. You know, bring his rulership down. Alright, but this is the book of Job, chapter 5. I think it's 5 and 12. Yeah, he frustrates the plans of schemers, so the work of their hands will not succeed. He traps the wise in their own cleverness, so their cunning schemes are thwarted. Alright? And he's essentially going to trap the wise at the appearing of Yahushua. You know? At the appearing of Yahushua, he's going to trap the wise in their own wickedness. Right? He's the one that put it on the minds of these devils, all right, to create the atom bomb. As you see that movie that just came out, or was it the hydrogen bomb, the movie that just came out, Oppenheimer. And then through that, you know, they went on to continue or to forward their own destruction, because World War III was written of how the world should, or America, Babylon, and the hegemony of Esau should be taken down with fire and brimstone, as written in the scriptures. So they had to go past the hydrogen bomb and create thermonuclear missiles, which again, when you go into fire and brimstone, that's how Sodom was taken out. You see? So you see how Yahweh Shem Yahushai was always one step hell. Yahweh Shem Yahushai was always 100 steps ahead of these devils. You know? It says the deceived and the deceiver are his in the book of Job 12. They find it is dark in the daytime, and they grope at noon as if it were night. You know, as the scriptures say, because that goes perfectly with this. Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. Now, essentially, this is at the time where Yahweh Shem Yahushua makes our words a reality, because what we speak is the words of Yahweh Yahushua, the words of prophecy. Alright? And as it is written, it is impossible for the Most High to lie. So when we speak about World War III, when we speak about this devil being taken out of rulership, it's written in the scriptures. So it says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and make no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. The chariots. Alright? Because chariots are coming to do two things. To destroy the wicked. Alright? But prior to destroying the wicked, he's going to save the elect physically. They're going to physically save the elect. Alright? When Yahushua comes with the multitudes of angels. And they were panting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall slay, so say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of God, and his lot is among the saints? You see? And They so far gone in their own wickedness that they don't see prophecies coming to pass. And if they do see prophecies coming to pass, it doesn't click within them that, yeah, these men are right. You know, they had to see it they had to see their destruction. They had to see the appearing of Yahushua to finally wake up and smell the coffee, so to speak. Going back again, as we read in Job 5, they find it is dark in the daytime, and they grope at noon as if it were night. You know, basically meaning that at the highlight of the Lord's, at the speaking of the Lord's prophets, they don't understand what's going on. At the time of understanding, you know, they misunderstand. Then it goes on to say, he rescues the poor from the cutting words of the strong and rescues them from the clutches of the powerful. Right? And Esau, you know, scriptures say Revelations 12 and 12, Revelations 13 and 15, how he's going to come. You know, still attempting to destroy, spoil those that won't get down with his agenda. But this is what's going to happen to him. All right? We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. You could also read that in Wisdom of Solomon 2, how they're going to actually attempt to, we'll grab it real quick. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 20, let us condemn him with a shameful death, for by his own sayings he shall be respected. Such things they did imagine and were deceived. Because what you read in that document is what this devil is going to bring on a wide scale. All right, concentration camps. The scriptures speak about how some shall be beheaded for the witness of Yahushua. All right. For by his own sayings he shall be respected. Such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness have blinded them. All right. Again, going back into Job 5, they find it is dark in the daytime, and they grope at noon as if it were night. He rescues the poor from the cutting words of the strong and rescues them from the clutches of the powerful. And so at last the poor have hope, and the snapping jaws of the wicked are shut. But consider the joy of those corrected by God. Do not despise the discipline of the Almighty when you sin, for though he wounds, he also bandages, he strikes, but his hands also heal. And this is what the Lord did to us by sending us into the hands of our enemies because of our iniquities. All right, but some is going to come back. According to the Lord's promises, he's going to save those who turn back unto him. From 6 disasters he will rescue you. Even in the 7th, he will keep you from evil. All right. He will save you from death in time of famine, from the power of the sword in the time of war. You will be safe from slander and have no fear when destruction comes. All right. The scriptures speak about how the wicked shall be taken in mischief and destruction. All right. So that's Esau's plans, the master plans of the illuminated Rothchilds. But this is the master plans of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. All right. And this is something that we have to believe in. As the scriptures tell us in Sirach 2, woe unto him that, you know, let me just grab it. We'll end it off there. But this devil's going to come with a lot of fear. You know? Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 12, 2 and 11, 2 and 10. Look at the generation of old and see that ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear or was forsaken, or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins and saveth in time of affliction. Woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth 2 ways. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended. All right, and we have no other choice but to believe. All right, therefore right now we should be praying, fasting, praying, reading, doing the things that will ensure salvation. All right. So with that, shalom to the elect.